T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. My life has value.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Global Watchman News. My name is Lori Swan. I hope you guys are all doing well. If you're in the live chat, we do ask to keep it family friendly. There will be moderators in there to make sure that we stay within the terms of service put forth to us by the platform we're utilizing today. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Take a minute to hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell so you know when we go live. All right, this is not a regularly scheduled broadcast, only because the more I look at things, the more weird this thing gets. I'm just going to tell you. So, what was that? Let's pull up. Let's go with this first. Okay. This is from the Oklahoma, one of the Oklahoma City newspapers. And normally I wouldn't, it wouldn't really, well, I can't even say that. Normally it would raise my eyebrows. It would raise some red flags to me. But the fact that this is just an eclipse, right? I mean, this happens all the time, right? I mean, how many times has an eclipse happened in your life? Whether it be a partial lunar eclipse or a partial or a full solar eclipse or vice. I mean, this is just an eclipse, right? So why is it that Oklahoma, it says the Oklahoma National Guard will have guardsmen present in McCurtain County for the total solar eclipse on April 8th. County Emergency Management Director Cody McDaniel told county commissioners. That's not what really has me puzzled. It's this next part. It's estimated about 100,000 people may be in the county for that event. Okay. So you're planning on an influx of people there. I get it. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna want to up the security. You're gonna want to, police presence. Especially if you're not used to that. County fairs have about that many people, when they come through and everything. So I mean, I could see that. It's this part. The 22 members of an elite chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear unit will be housed in Broken Bow, in addition to up to 110 to 150 Oklahoma Highway Patrol troopers. There will be about another 150 first responders and volunteers, which, again, I get that part. I do. You have that influx of people, and you're going to want to have your emergency first responders. You're going to want to supplement what you usually have, especially if it's a small town. I get that. It's the 22 members of an elite chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear unit that's going to be there. Why? What are they planning for? What are they expecting? I like I said, I can see the added police officers. I could see the National Guard coming there to supplement police officers, supplement first responders. I can see that. It's the other ones that I'm kind of having a problem with. Okay. Another thing that has brought to my attention from Wednesday night till now is 40 days from April 8th is Pentecost. 40 days is Pentecost. Jonah entered the city of Nineveh, went 1 day's walk, and preached. This is what he preached. In 40 days, Nineveh will be smashed. The people of Nineveh listened and trusted God. They proclaimed the citywide fast, dressed in burlap to show their repentance. Everyone did it, rich and poor, famous and obscure, leaders and followers. So they did. They repented. But he gave them 40 days from the time that he entered the city until God's wrath was going to be coming down upon Nineveh. And it just seems interesting that 40 days from that happens to be Pentecost. Exodus chapter 4, verse 8 says, "And it shall come to pass that they will not believe they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign," which I believe was the eclipse of 2017, "and they will believe the voice of the latter sign," which is the April. Just interesting. And again, the signs of the Alpha and the Omega. Here's the cities that it's going through. All right. Let's take a listen to what this guy says.
The sheriff called me yesterday, and after he got done telling me everything inside this meeting that was happening, I pretty much was nerve rattled after what I heard. But I'm going to tell you what the emergency, what's behind this emergency for the solar eclipse, what's the deeper intel. And not only that, how they want emergency communication systems to be implemented, what specific groups they're going to be targeting. We're about to get into all that right here, and information that I did separate research to try to link up and confirm more on this scenario. So he gets on the phone with me yesterday after they have this meeting. Who's this meeting with? It's with Homeland Security. So, and he said there were New York instructors there. I have a list right here. I took notes of every single thing that he said because I couldn't record his voice. Obviously, he's trying to stay discreet. He said they were focusing on anti-vaccine people, anti-government people, preppers, Trump supporters. He even goes into deeper in the scenario what we're going to get to here in a second. But he said they didn't want the public to have any communication between each other. Any communication at all. And we told you yesterday that sheriff that came out and said it could be a potential terror attack. Well, we got more intel on what could actually happen in the solar eclipse, but just listen to this 23-second clip really quick.
But that's not all that he's concerned about.
That people want to do us harm, use an event like this where a lot of people are gathered to do some type of terror event.
The director of the Lake County Emergency Management Agency told me they've been preparing for the solar eclipse now for about 2 years.
They've been preparing for this for 2 years. Imagine that, for 2 years. That sounds like a lot of preparation going into that. And in the video yesterday, I told you the military is getting into a building that they won the Allied War in World War II, which is Idabel, which you can find that video after this video. But let's get into this right now. So they don't want any communications between us. And what is the big event that they're doing? This is what he told me inside of Homeland Security yesterday they were talking about. He said, during the solar eclipse, while people are all out there looking, they're planning, the intel that they've got is a possible biological attack on people while the solar eclipse is freaking happening. Yes, I just said that, while the solar eclipse is happening. And you're like, okay, well, where are they going to do that? Well, all the people out for the solar eclipse, I'm potentially believing could be targets. Okay, so this is not speculation. This is totally inside information about what they said. And they're talking about how the first responders' mental health, they need to prepare because their mental health is going to be very, very, out of whack after this. So when he told me that they potentially might be doing a biological attack, that's the intel. Who's going to be doing it? I don't know. But however, I looked deeper, and then I seen that 3 weeks ago, none of us was paying attention to the fact that the FBI just had a training drill for a biological attack, and they're getting hospitals ready for it. So I want you to look at this video clip real quick and just look at what we all missed and how this lines up with the agenda.
Staff at multiple local hospitals are now better prepared to handle a potential emergency. The FBI spent time in 3 ERs today in our area, walking doctors, nurses, and other staff through what they could do in case of a bioterrorism disaster. 11 News reporter Elmer Mejia Segastumi is joining me live from Penrose Hospital, one of the locations that participated. An agent with the FBI told you that disasters like these help improve communications, or disaster exercises, I should say, help improve communication among staff and others.
Adam, a hospital official says that these drills are important in keeping the staff on their toes and prepared. They say the staff hospital does numerous drills throughout the years. It helps them determine what needs the hospital may have depending on the situation. Special Agent David Autry says no drill ever goes 100% perfectly, but they consider every drill a success because it helps them identify the things the FBI and hospitals need to improve on. Hospital officials say the disaster scenario was a toxin put in people's milk. The goal was to monitor how departments and agencies communicated with one another.
There's a need for all of us. There's no one single agency that can handle this alone. Again, we handle that law enforcement investigation, the lead from the federal side, but that includes our state and local partners from law enforcement, includes public health. When you look at a WMD event, it's going to require all partners to come together.
The FBI and local hospitals say that after these disaster scenario exercises.
Appreciate that super chat. Now, I have so much more to tell you. But please, while we're live right now, while you're watching this, share this out, more importantly, to your friends, to your family, to all the people that's going to be going to this solar eclipse, so we could potentially avert them getting hit with biological materials that is probably going to be dispersed on crowds when this event happens. That's the inside intel, and there's more intel than that we're finna get to right now. Target list, let's talk about how they're telling law enforcement in this meeting with Homeland Security, they're telling them on the population that, hey, look, we need you to enforce information because during the last pandemic, everything got out of hand. We need you to track their cell phones, which they did in the last pandemic. We need you to basically be in control. And why you think all the communication systems are upgrading? You see all these counties saying, oh, we got to upgrade the communication systems. And then you see where they're having all these meetings and stuff like that for the communication systems. So the reason they don't want any communication between us, because they said how the public was distrusting all of them, how we distrusted them during the ongoing operations of the first pandemic, because we're not just talking about what's happening in the solar eclipse, we're talking about the potential next plan, which he gets into here, and he talks about every single virus they talk about. And when I'm looking here, that's because I got this list. I told you I took notes. I wrote down all this stuff when he was talking to me on his phone call. So the communication basically is the reason why emergency stuff is coming out right now is because we're not going to have communication with each other. They're going to make sure that he said is only going to be cell phone communication. Like you're going to get emergency alert. The emergency systems, like I was saying, they're not going to be able to be like, you're going to have your Faraday bag ready, because the tracking system, somebody says, thank you, sis, Stephen, appreciate you. No problem. So the emergency systems, you need to get your Faraday bags ready because they're going to be tracking you actively. They're going to be looking into that. They're going to be basically trying as much as possible to get who's on the target list. So the next thing is they talked about a lot of different virus things, virus scenarios. We want to get into that right now. And he was talking about the deer situation, right? The zombie deer thing. He said that was one thing that they said was going to jump to humans. And basically, since that's in a lab somewhere, you already know what's going on with that. They're whipping it up and they're going to try to make something jump. He also said that in this meeting with Homeland Security, they were talking about how they were going to be ready to lock people in their houses. And he gave me this map as well. So the map is pretty much, he said, this is public knowledge right here. And this is basically the map here. So whenever environmental supposedly disasters happen, this is the response in all the states, and they call this apple tree map. Interesting. So moving past that, he said the main things inside his Homeland Security meeting that they talked about, what they were going to need to install certain people for the CDC's interest, meaning politicians that's puppets. They talked about Ebola. They talked about COVID, measles, and like I just said, the brain wasting disease. how to map out. This is the part where we get crazy. Obviously, we got some rain about to come, but we're gonna be able to finish this before that happens. Mass casualty. How to map out the population and round up the homeless. So this is another thing they're talking about within these meetings. He's gonna have a meeting also coming up. So you want to stay around because Monday I'll be telling you about the next meeting, which martial law is what they're talking about in that one. But they're talking about locking people into their homes. 2, he said that they're going to try to get religious people on board with getting people to get the vax. So basically saying that the churches, the preachers and stuff like that, they're going to go around and they're going to have campaigns to try to push them to get you to trust them when they pull out this next version of whatever the pandemic is so that you can go and take, you already know what they're going to be pushing. Somebody says, we are real out here, JWTV. Yeah, we are real. And this is all getting real. And I'm telling you this information here extremely. He said this was the composure of Homeland Security. They were extremely worried, he said. Extremely worried. And so the first day was supposed to be an exercise. He said there was no exercise. And also they didn't allow any cell phones in the building because they didn't want anybody recording anything. So all the information here that I'm giving you, you're not going to get it anywhere else. This stuff should be spread out massively. Do you know how many lives could be saved during this event just because we avert this? And we know people are still going to say, well, I'm not going to not go. I'm going to go anyway. But let them do that. But the problem is the people who don't know, if this doesn't get to them, and they don't have a chance to basically avert what's coming. And that means that all of us should be prepared and ready if they're going to spread something biological. That's how the first half of this next event begins. Spreading something biological. All these people, hundreds of thousands of people out there. After that, they go back home, they go wherever they go. And then from there, it just amplifies and spreads. So this information here is so critical. And I'm leaving it on you. I'm leaving on every last one of you to choose the choice to get it out to others, because that's all I can do. YouTube is not going to do that. It's really up to you at this point. And if you just tuned in the video and you don't know what's going on, you got to watch the full video again. The video yesterday I put out linking to this is really important. You should see. Again, the donation link will be below to help JWTV out. We'll have more information coming Monday. You'll want to stick around for that because he has another meeting in his Homeland Security meeting, and we'll be telling you more about that scenario too. Stay safe, everybody, and be.
Okay, so that's the information that is available right now. And I did do some digging, of course, after I watched the video to verify what he was saying, and I did find that there was, in fact, just like he reported, there was these drills, and we all know what happens with drills, and all the likes of that. Now, guys, I'm not saying anything's going to happen, but it's my responsibility to put all the information out there and let you guys decide for yourselves what you want to do. I'm not the only one who's got this strange, gnawing feeling in my pit of my stomach because things just don't make sense. I went over this the other day, John and myself and Ernie and Hero. And if you look at the trajectory of this April 8th, 2024 event, it goes from the west to the east. Okay? Guys, the sun moves from the east to the west. How can there be an eclipse up in New England after look at it. It makes no sense to me. I'm trying to put it into words. So as the sun moves from east to west, you've got the moon moving from apparently south to north. And that just, again, makes no sense to me. It really does. Let's see. I've got one more thing to put up on here. So let's go to this one. I'm going to pull this up real quick. Now, I had mentioned the other day about how my gut was telling me about the 3 days of darkness. And I said to you guys, I get it. And you're seeing it's not biblical. Okay, I get that. But let's take a listen to this.
A second, you're telling me that the solar eclipse is happening on the same day that the 3 days of darkness took place in Egypt. Well, that's what Mark Blitz is claiming, who is a Messianic Jew. Let me know what you think.
So this guy here is saying, you know what, you can't hear it. Give me a second. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play it on my phone and put it up for you guys to listen to. I don't know why it's not. But he talks about how this plague, or this is going to be the same dates as, well, take a listen.
The solar eclipse is happening on the same day that the 3 days of darkness took place in Egypt. Well, that's what Mark Blitz is claiming, who's a Messianic Jew. Let me know what you think.
So April 8th is the very day that happened with the plagues of Egypt back in the biblical times. So when we say, I'm going to put the link for you guys to go listen. Here you go. Don't go now, because we're not done. I have something very important to tell you guys before you guys leave, before I end this. So I'm going to finish this up real quick. But he says that the dates correspond. The April 8th is part of, it's in that 3-day period of when the plagues came in biblical times. Go ahead and take a listen to that, because that's another thing that's really interesting. All right. So I don't know how long everybody's been following us, but back, I don't know, a couple years ago, we were introduced to a person who was just an amazing man. Here, let me get this. Hold on a minute. Let me just 2 seconds here. Should have pulled it up, but I didn't. Here we go. Save image. All right, 4:30. Okay, let me just pull this up. Back a couple of years ago, we were introduced to a gentleman who we used to, where'd it go? There it is. We used to broadcast with him. He was over on Revolution Radio. You guys know him as the Mechanic. We just got word that Mechanic has passed away. Last Friday, he had a massive heart attack. And he had 100% blockage in the LAD. And they did do a stent. They did get his heart going, but unfortunately, there was too much damage to his brain. And he passed away. So I want you guys to know that our hearts and our prayers go out to everybody, go out to his family and his friends, his community, the people over on Revolution Radio. Tonight, Kim is going to be having a memorial for him over on her page, over on her Facebook, or I'm sorry, her YouTube channel. I would love it if we could, as a community, Global Watchman News community, could support her. And it's really very hard for me right now because it's still very new of losing Eric. So losing somebody else has just kind of put me back a little bit, kind of opened up that sore, that wound. And I'm back going through the waves again, processing. So, but the link is there for you guys. Please come over and show your support as a Global Watchman News community over for Kim. I would greatly appreciate that. And we'll be back on Sunday night with Dr. Joy Pugh. Lots going on. We're going to dig into where in the world is Kate? What's going on? What it could mean for the royal family as far as next in line. We're going to talk about some rumors that could affect who is next in line to that to the throne. And we're going to talk about all of that with Dr. Joy, and that'll be Sunday night. So, all right, guys, we will talk with you later. Until next time, remember, eyes open, no fear. There's the link, guys. I just put it in for you to go over there. And yes, Vegan, I will email you right now.